Talk Time. I'm your host, Usha Kumar. I have with me here today Deborah Chodoff, who is the chair of art department at Worcester School, Danbury. She's also a practicing artist. Hello, Deborah. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Usha.
I'm so happy to have you here. I think in another segment we discussed about your artwork, where it came from, and so we'll try to touch upon those points as well. But first I would like to ask you about the art department in Worcester School and what you do there.
Well, I've been the chair of the art department for about 10 years now. Prior to that, I was just the lower school art teacher. I still teach lower school art, which I love. I also teach a little bit of upper school art, and I help students get their portfolios together if they're applying to art school. The Worcester Art Department has gone through many changes, and if you'd like, I can tell you a little bit about the history of the art department at Worcester.
Oh, definitely. Please do.
Okay. Worcester used to be a boys' boarding school. It was founded in 1926, and I don't really know what they did for art during many, many of those years. But I do know that in 1966 or so, I think the end of the 60s, the Worcester Community Arts Center was founded. And that was a separate institution that catered to the community, had some very fine artists, and an excellent department in pottery and photography, printmaking. We had weaving. I wasn't there at the time. But, and that furnished the art classes for the Worcester School, which was still a boys' boarding school. Then in the next several years, it stopped being a boarding school. It admitted girls, and they added a lower school, which is when I come in. When I started in 1991, they still had the Worcester Community Arts Center, and our classes existed alongside the Worcester Community Arts Center classes. So in one room there would be a bunch of people painting with oils.
So the Community Arts Center, what is that?
That was an art center that actually became quite well known in the community and had classes for adults.
Are they conducted throughout the year, or just, I've seen those ads in summertime?
Right. Well, recently the Worcester Community Arts Center, well, it is no more, because as our art department grew, we needed the space and we needed the time, because a lot of the classes were during the day. And as our art department expanded, there was less space for the art center. So we kind of phased it out over the years, and now we don't have the Worcester Community Arts Center anymore. However, we have the facilities. So we have a pottery studio that has 10 wheels and 3 kilns, which is really unrivaled in the area in schools. And a darkroom photography, wet photography darkroom that has 9 stations, and we still have printmaking, and we have some excellent studio space.
And all of this education is part of the curriculum?
Now it's part of the curriculum, yes. Yes, because we don't have outside classes anymore, so all the facilities are for the students at Worcester.
And what do you do as the chair of art department?
Well, I coordinate the classes. I manage the scheduling of the classes, the personnel, the teachers. We actually have 7 teachers, 3 full-time, and then we have adjunct teachers that come in and teach the electives.
That's a nice big department for art, where in most public schools, art is what is being cut down, right? It's one of the subjects.
Right. It really is. In my opinion, it's a wonderful department. It's a lot of fun. We're in sort of a separate area at the bottom of the campus, and so we're very congenial, and it's a nice atmosphere. It's great for the kids to be able to come down there.
Yeah, and art is such a wonderful subject to learn, because it's not just painting, as I think mentioned the last time we had our discussion. You know, it's not the usual just painting on a 2-dimensional paper. Now this is so much of creativity, and it's all 3-dimensional and everything, right?
Yes, well, we believe, I mean, one of the founding principles of our art department is that creativity is inherent, and that inside each child or adult there is an artist, And it really is a question of learning skills and liberating that artist and allowing the creativity to flow. Because there's so many different kinds of artists now, it's important to learn many different kinds of media. And one of the things I do from the very youngest children is I try to work in many different kinds of media and different kinds of different scales. In other words, with little tiny kids, it's wonderful to work really big because they feel so empowered to be able to make something that's sometimes even larger than themselves.
Yeah.
And to keep that excitement and investment in one's own work alive throughout the career of the Worcester student is really our goal.
Could you briefly tell us, what you do as a practicing artist?
Well, I'm a book artist now and also a painter. I started out as a printmaker and went through many different loves in my life, loves of different kinds of media, and one wonderful thing about the book arts is that I can combine all those media into one form. Book arts is not what many people think of when they first hear the word book art. It's not illustration, and it has nothing to do with the publishing industry, but it is using the book format as a form for creative ideas.
Just the way it's presented.
Yes.
Could you show us an example of a book art?
Yes, I have a little one here, which is fun to show at this time because so much of my work with students has to do with texture, and this also has a lot to do with texture. This book is called Chaos, and I don't know how many of this people watching have a kitchen drawer that you open, try to find something and can't find it because there's chaos in there.
You have all kinds of little things stuck there in that little drawer.
Right, so this is really about that feeling of opening the drawer, trying to find something that you're looking for and not being able to find it, and that slight panic. This is kind of an existential feeling. It sort of puts you on the brink of the viscous void.
Yeah.
So this spells out chaos, and it's photographs of the kitchen drawer, C, and then the H. You have to look in the mirror to complete the H, A, O, and then the S is a whole bunch of complicated spirals. And it's got, as the cover, it's a grater, and it's very uncomfortable to feel because it's got prickly parts coming out. And you'll see that the prickliness actually comes through in my work with children. That's like your steel
brush or something. Is that a steel brush?
No, it's picture wire unraveled.
Oh, picture wire. Okay, but it looks like a brush, and here's the. Oh. So why did you make it like that?
I made it because my mother-in-law at the time was suffering from Alzheimer's disease, and it's really about memory and about panic. So it has a deeper level to it. The confusion. I was thinking about the confusion she must feel when she's looking for something and can't find it, or can't find something in her memory.
Oh, I see.
Very frustrating.
So it's like a book. You turn the pages but it is art.
It's art.
And that's why you call it book art.
That's right.
That's very interesting. And it's
lives in a little drawer.
See, other than this book art, you also did some paintings, right?
Yes, I do.
What kind do you paint?
I spent some time in Peru when my husband was doing archaeological research down there. This was when I was very young and didn't have children yet. And I started doing paintings of the landscape and of shadows on walls. I loved the colors and the forms.
Are those oil or?
Yes, I was working in oil.
On canvas?
On canvas.
Okay.
And I did many paintings. And then when I became a book artist, I kind of abandoned painting for a little while. And recently we revisited Peru.
Okay.
And it brought back all that visual stimulation and that love of the color and the light. And I spent last summer doing a series of paintings, and the previous summer doing a series of collages. Also, I did a bunch of digital work related to this subject matter too.
Could we have that picture from Peru? Yeah. Could you please tell us what that is?
Yes, that's a painting. It's an abstraction semi-abstraction from a photograph of a small ghost town along the coast, which is uninhabited in the wintertime, which is why I call it a ghost town.
Oh, it's really uninhabited when?
During the wintertime. It's
during
it's
winter.
a summer
Okay.
resort.
Oh.
So in the summer, everybody comes and brings their camp beds, and it's very lively. But
And what is the nearest city? Yeah.
Guadalupe,
Okay.
which is on the north coast. It's on the desert coast of Peru.
Okay.
Very bustling little town. And in the wintertime, in the summertime, all the inhabitants of Guadalupe up and go to this little town on the seacoast. But in the winter, it's completely deserted. There's nothing. So it's a wonderful opportunity to just really concentrate on the colors and shapes of the interior spaces.
And these are the adobe houses?
These are adobe houses.
Oh, okay.
And they're a little bit sand and sun washed. A little bit falling apart around the edges, and they have a very romantic quality to them.
It has a lot of depth. The more you look at it, you can kind of really feel the rooms and all the different levels of lighting in each section of it.
My object was to have a whole series of paintings where you really wanted to go into each painting.
Yeah. So that's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So tell me about your Worcester art. And
Well, I can tell you, if you want to bring up the first image, this is a couple of images from our elective program. We have after-school electives in pottery, photography, filmmaking, graphic arts,
yeah, that is the picture, I believe.
painting, drawing. You can see the potter's wheel on the upper left.
Yeah.
We have regular exhibits of student work, which the students often help us mount.
So the pottery
So-
department is part of the art
Yes.
department?
Yes,
And
it's a
what
s-
type of pottery?
It's a separate
making?
studio, and it's huge. So we can do wheel throwing, we can do hand building, we can do raku, and we have 3 kilns and many glazes. We now have 2 resident artists who are working there, doing their own work, which is so nice for the students to be able to see that adults also produce work.
Oh.
So, and they help us keep the studio running on a professional level, which is nice.
And what other department do you have?
We have a photography department. We do wet darkroom photography, which is, we also do some digital photography, but it's really wonderful for the students to be able to go into the darkroom and see the film and the paper being developed and have
The
that
actual
photograph
process.
emerge in the darkness. It's just, it's very magical. And what's interesting is that even though everybody has a digital camera now, it's so easy to take photographs. The students at Worcester, they really love to do photography, and they sign up every trimester for photo classes because it's
the
so,
old-fashioned way,
yeah,
basically.
it's so remarkable.
Do they
It's-
do black and white prints?
Yes, it's all black and white. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, color darkroom is very difficult
Oh.
and toxic, so we just don't do that.
Oh,
But-
really?
But
Okay.
but yeah, the black and white, and actually what the photography teacher is doing right now is he's making pinhole cameras with some of the students, and that is an amazing process because you take an oatmeal box and a little piece of metal with a hole in it
And actually make a camera?
and make a camera out of those simple materials. It's magical.
Oh.
And you know, it's very interesting for kids in this age where things are so easy at a touch of a button
Yeah.
to understand where the process
The
comes
fundamental,
from.
where
Right.
the process comes, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
where the
think-
vocabulary comes from, because all of digital photography vocabulary is based on black and white darkroom photography.
Oh, that's a wonderful opportunity for the kids, I would
Yeah.
say. In the upper school, what art forms do you do?
In the upper, well, the other elective that we have that's fairly new and which is wonderful is we do video and film. We have some filmmakers that are teaching at Worcester now, and that's also an amazing process. It's nice to see them every trimester. We try to have a little showing of their little movies. They can only be short because it's such a small trimester, but they're wonderfully inventive.
Oh, they are movies.
So, yeah, little
Gosh,
films.
and that's part of the art department.
That's part of the art
See.
department. Then we have painting and drawing and graphic arts. We have a course called experimental art, which is a little bit more free form. We have book arts. We have printmaking. These are all electives that students can take after school.
Oh.
And it is possible to have an elective every afternoon
Oh.
of a different elective. And we call that art intensive, so that if the students that really love art, the upper schoolers, the high school kids that really love art, can do it all week and get credit for it.
So do you take classes that are in the evening, like after school, as well as during school time?
The high school students at Worcester have to be on campus until 5:30. So after the end of academic classes, there's a period of time when they can do theater or sports or art. And so we have a lot of classes that they can take during that time.
Oh, I see.
We also have classes during the school day, because some kids love sports or drama and can't take the after-school classes, so we have classes during the day. So.
Can you show us some of the upper school art?
Yes, if you.
Louder today.
Okay. Okay.
These are images from the intermediate art, which is the 9th grade required course. There is a required course during the day.
Yeah.
And the teacher of this course knows a great deal about contemporary art and tries to bring in examples of contemporary art and have them work in the style of that. So the two on the left are in the style of Robin Rhodes, who's
It looks like somebody's lying down.
Yes, she took them all outside on a fine day and had them draw props on the asphalt, and then pose with them.
Oh, is that
And
a
then-
student lying
Yes,
down?
yes,
And what
yes.
is that supposed to be? What's the picture of?
The one on the top, I believe, is the Statue of Liberty with her
okay.
light.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, and the one on the bottom is a bunch of balloons. And the student is posing as if he's
being dragged up.
elevated,
Yeah,
yes.
he's being lifted up by the balloons. Oh, that's very nice.
Right, and then
And
on
what is the one there? That looks like a mask.
the upper
of
right
some
is a
sort.
mask. She does a whole segment of masks based on the 4 elements. And this was one that depicted fire.
Oh,
And then on the bottom, it's a graphic arts unit that she had the model after the Apple computer commercials. So they did silhouettes and that reflected something that they like to do.
Oh, okay.
And so that's I Dribble.
Do you have any other pictures?
I have a couple more from upper school.
Oh, what is that? That's not upper school.
Oh no, that
That's
is
not-
middle school. We'll just
Okay.
stay with that because the middle school curriculum focuses on imagination and skills. And what's wonderful is this little thing came off.
That's okay. Keep speaking. You can put it in for you.
She introduces them to masterworks of art, and the masterworks are, in this case, Georgia O'Keeffe's Sunflower, Van Gogh's Starry Night, and the one on the right is from a photograph of Chief Joseph by Edward
Oh,
Curtis.
I have a print of the Van Gogh Starry Night.
Yeah.
And the first one is Sunflowers.
Sunflowers by Georgia O'Keeffe. These murals, these are huge murals. Each section is approximately 18 by 24.
Oh.
So you can see that each child, each student gets a section, and they take a little tiny square of
From the main picture.
From the main picture, and they have to mix the colors, figure out the composition, figure out how to lay it out, and then when they put it all
and do-
together, voila, there's
So they do
Starry
their
Night.
part, and then when it's all put together, it's like this giant puzzle
Yeah.
that comes to life.
It's a wonderful way of appreciating masterworks of art and learning how to mix colors.
Yeah. You were going to show some other pictures from upper school?
Yes, I did want to say that there are a couple of, this is from an oil painting class. We do teach basic skills, and this is actually done by a young woman who had never taken oil painting before.
Oh.
And so the focus was,
This is like still life.
this is a still life, and the focus was to basically fill the space, use the negative space, find the highlights and the shadows of the objects.
So they do it on their own by looking at something?
Yes, I
then-
try to work from life as much as possible.
And
It's
then
very important.
the teachers help them with it or guide them?
Yes, I mean we come over. We never worked on the pictures, but we do give them some tricks and try to show them how to best
Tell
do
them,
it.
oh, you have to do some shading on the left side
Right,
or some
right.
highlighting
Well,
on the side. Or
the important thing is to train the eyes.
Yeah.
So rather than tell them what to do with their picture, I might point out something about what they're looking at. Like I would point to this part of the vase and
Yeah.
say, "See that there's a shadow there. That's the shading,
Shading,
and then where's the cast shadow or something like that."
Oh, okay.
Or what What's the nature of the highlight? That's a really interesting one.
It's light reflecting there.
All right,
That's
whether it's
really
a defined form, in which case the thing is shiny, or whether it's a much more diffuse area.
Okay. That's beautiful. And that was by a student?
That was by a student, yes. And this actually is a mural that we did in my 2D drawing class, which is of bicycles, which is a favorite art school subject. A lot of art colleges require a picture of a bicycle. So we did this from shadows, and we layered the shadows with different values of gray.
It's very nice.
Oops.
Yep.
But that's all upper school. Here's a detail of that.
So this is another section of that?
Another section of it, yeah.
Okay. That's very pretty.
Thank you.
Don't move it.
In the middle school, do you have any pictures from the middle school?
I don't. I didn't get to bring any from middle school. I just have the three collaboratives, we call them.
Okay.
But it's really fun to see what comes out of there. She does three-dimensional work. They've done giant shoes, and sometimes they do plaster cakes.
Oh.
And you know, a lot of what she does, she will support by showing work by various artists. Like Wayne Thiebaud is an artist that does a lot of oil paintings of desserts, and she'll show his work when they're doing three-dimensional cakes.
And what about the lower school? What art do they do?
The lower school, I teach the lower school. I started teaching the lower school when the lower school was started, so I've been doing it quite a long time, and we've recently added a pre-K class.
Oh.
And what's so fun for me is that when I first started teaching, when I was very, very young, it was pre-K that I did. I taught 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in an incredible program at the 92nd Street Y. And this program was designed by an artist, and she taught it with musicians and dancers. And there was no furniture in the room, and the children could come in and work on the floor and mix their own colors, experiment. It was very experiential and very process-oriented. And that was my early teaching experience, and that has stuck with me all these years. And to this day, that's how I teach the youngest kids, and I try to push that as far as I can.
Oh.
So,
can we show them the pictures of the schoolwork?
Yes.
Which one? This one is the
pizza.
Can you please put the pizza up? Yeah.
This looks tiny, but it covers the entire floor of my studio.
How big is that?
That's about 10 feet diameter. And
the pizza part is 10 feet.
Yep, that top, one on the top is the blank piece of paper. It's a big piece of brown paper. Children come in, they circle it, and we pour paint on it. They tell me what colors to pour down to make the pizza sauce, which isn't just a cherry red, it's a sort of an orangey color. So then they get in, they smush it all over, starting from the middle, coming all out to the edge. It's all over them.
That looks so realistic. And kids know their pizza, I think.
Right, and then we put the cheese on.
Yeah.
And the cheese we splatter on. Again, they mix
yellow
the colors because it's not just yellow and it's not just white. It's kind of
shades
creamy
of
color.
the yellow, white, creamy colors.
Right, so they splatter that on. And then earlier in the project, they have mixed the green for the peppers and painted the peppers. And they've mixed the purple for the eggplant. And they've cut concentric rings for the onions. And they've cut pieces of paper for the olives. And it's all there. They've mixed brown for the pepperoni, and they've used silver on little fish for the anchovies. They don't like all those things on the pizza.
So that's a group project. The whole class is involved in it?
Yeah, they collaborate, and they have fun together. They learn how to work together. They stick it all on.
They learn about mixing colors.
They learn about mixing colors and about collaborating, and it's really quite delightful when it's finished. We cut it into, they also learn a little math because we cut it into 8 sections.
Oh, yes. And the circle to start with.
And the circle, exactly. So,
you had something else that was so good, fascinating. I liked it. You know, the turtle.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that and which class made it.
Yes. Now, one of the beauties of lower school art is that we collaborate with the classroom teachers as well as the science teacher, the Spanish teacher. 1 year, the science teacher and I collaborated on turtles because she's a turtle expert.
Oh, okay.
So we made giant
we have
turtles.
that picture on.
They're
on
about
screen.
this big.
Yeah.
Each student chose a
Like
different
how
turtle.
many feet? Like
It was really this big, like a real
3
turtle,
feet,
like a
real turtle.
like a real
Okay.
sea turtle.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were this big.
That's-
We
okay.
hung them from the ceiling,
Oh.
and I put blue over the lights so that it really looked like you were in the
Oh, they
ocean
were
with
in
the
the
sea turtles.
Oh.
But we used all recycled materials. We studied the structure of the turtle so that there was a cardboard on top and cardboard on the bottom.
Oh.
They cut out the plates for the
we
back.
probably have just 2 minutes left.
So-
Okay.
Okay. So,
So you can just finish up that.
all right. So
the turtle.
the turtle was a real learning experience because they were also studying sea turtles in science.
Oh.
And we brought that also into art.
art.
And they learned how to do the shapes and mix the colors and draw the turtles as well.
Do you have any other graphic on the computer already? Do you have any graphic there?
I think that
Have
we
you
have.
shown everything?
No, I think we have the figure drawing.
Oh, yes.
I have to say that
Yeah.
this is by a 4th grader. We were studying Greek pots.
Oh.
And this is a coil pot that was made in the after seeing images of Greek pottery and after going to the Metropolitan Museum and seeing their
Oh.
collection.
It's always
So-
very inspiring after a visit to the museums, right?
Yes, we try to really approach the learning from all different angles.
You just have a minute left. Maybe you can show us that big.
Well, this
art-
is preschool texture book.
Oh.
And you can see, I'll show you that we were studying textures, and this is the bumpy page. I especially love this project because I'm a book artist, and I love bringing book arts to all
rough
different
and
levels.
bumpy.
Smooth and shiny,
Oh,
soft and fluffy,
lovely textures.
stretchy and bendy.
We have the feather. So this is a real collage of all kinds of things.
And this is prickly
very
and spiky.
three-dimensional.
Prickly and spiky.
Three-dimensional and very, very pretty.
So it's
And-
about the process.
And this is also a form of book art.
And this is book
And
art.
can you
This
see
is
that last
bound.
one there? This one. Oh, time to go. Okay. Well, we showed as many as we could to
We
our
did.
public. And thank you so much for coming in. It's been my pleasure. And I just love art. And we can be talking all day, I think, about this.
I love to
And
talk
for
about
those of
this.
you watching at home, thank you for watching. And until next time, goodbye.